Chapter 1. Awakening of Change. In a bustling corporate office located in the heart of the business district, each morning began with the sound of alarm clocks and the constant ringing of telephones. The spacious lobby, with its marble floors, glass walls, and modern decor, exuded an air of success, where every action was governed by strict corporate etiquette. In this environment worked Andrew, a young client relations manager known for his professionalism, punctuality, and a certain air of arrogance. He had grown accustomed to evaluating every visitor through a narrow lens, believing that most people coming through the door were unlikely to bring anything truly valuable. For him, every second of the workday was precious, and any interruption was seen as a threat to his targets. That fateful day began just as any other, with Andrew dashing through the narrow corridors, deep in thought about upcoming meetings and reports, while exchanging curt greetings with his colleagues. His focus was on numbers and charts, his mind consumed with plans for boosting profits and enhancing service. Yet, at that moment, a woman entered the office, dressed in modest attire, her hair neatly tied back, and her gaze measured as if she were carefully guarding a secret. At first glance, she seemed like just another client with business to attend to, but there was something about her bearing and demeanor that caused onlookers to hold their breath in quiet anticipation. Andrew, who was used to judging visitors solely by their appearance, did not pay her any special attention. He approached the reception desk with his customary cold detachment, asking the standard questions without expecting anything out of the ordinary. However, even he could not help but notice the slight, almost imperceptible smile that flickered across his lips as he observed her casually running a hand over a business card holder, a gesture that hinted at a hidden confidence. Colleagues watching from a distance exchanged knowing glances and whispered among themselves that there was more to this woman than met the eye. While Andrew scrutinized another report at his desk, he mused on the importance of not overlooking any detail, believing that even the smallest nuance might prove decisive in the fierce battle for success. An inner voice urged him to remain alert, yet his pride and unwavering belief in his own judgment prevented him from reassessing the enigmatic guest. A mild unease and a strange premonition filled his thoughts, but he pressed on, following his well-rehearsed protocol: greet, assess, and respond in the standard manner. Unbeknownst to everyone, the invisible threads of fate were beginning to weave a complex tapestry. In the office corridors, murmurs spread rapidly, whispers speculating about the mysterious woman who, despite her unassuming appearance, seemed to command attention. Some suggested that she might represent an important partner, while others speculated that beneath her modest exterior lay a person of great influence. Amid this flurry of conjecture, hints emerged of a revelation that would soon upend the established order within the company. As moments stretched on, an elusive enigma filled the air. Andrew, despite his steadfast confidence, began to feel an inexplicable inner resistance, as if his intuition was warning him of imminent changes. He couldn't fathom why his habitual certainty was suddenly being undermined when his colleagues' glances carried subtle smiles. The mysterious woman's face, softly illuminated by the morning light, radiated calm and wisdom, as if she harbored knowledge capable of altering not only the course of the day, but the destiny of the company itself. It turned out that fate had no room for mere coincidence. In due course, the astonishing truth would be revealed. Behind the unassuming facade lay none other than Oprah Winfrey herself, and her visit to the office would spark a chain of events destined to upend the conventional approach to client service and internal relationships. That first, almost imperceptible moment of misunderstanding and inattention proved only to be a harbinger of how even the smallest mistake could trigger a dramatic transformation in the lives of all those caught at the crossroads of destiny. Chapter 2. The Error at the Threshold. The office morning unfolded in its usual rhythm until tension suddenly surged to a critical level. Andrew, the client relations manager, was diligently preparing for a series of important meetings, completely unaware that fate was about to present him with a formidable challenge. In the corridor, the familiar hustle and bustle of busy employees and ringing telephones formed the backdrop of daily corporate life. Then, at the reception, the enigmatic woman reappeared. Still modestly dressed, she emanated a quiet yet assured aura. She approached the desk with a slight bow and softly said, "Good morning. I have an appointment with the business development department. Andrew, adhering to standard procedure, hardly gave her words a second thought. In a detached tone, he replied, "Appointment, you say? Please state your name." With a gentle smile, she answered, "Alice Johnson." At that moment, Victor from the registration team, observing discreetly from afar, murmured to a colleague, "There's something about her tone. Could she be one of our major partners?" Andrew, however, had already made up his mind. His internal monologue was brimming with certainty. If she truly wishes to meet, she'll follow the standard process. There's no reason to cause unnecessary delays. He furrowed his brow, catching a hint of nonchalance in her voice, and, without waiting for further clarification, stated firmly, "I'm sorry, but our schedule is extremely tight at the moment. You'll have to wait in the lounge until I can confirm the possibility of a meeting." Alice nodded, yet her eyes betrayed an expectation for more attentive service. In the corridors, rumors began to flare like a wildfire. Victor stepped up and asked Andrew in a low voice, "Are you sure you're handling this correctly?" She seemed like someone who urgently needed to speak with us. Irritated by the criticism, Andrew snapped, "Victor, don't interfere. If she's indeed a significant figure, we'll know in due time. Right now, our priority is keeping the meeting schedule intact." Meanwhile, Alice, remaining quietly in the waiting area, observed the unfolding scene with cool composure, as if already preparing to prove her worth. A few minutes later, when Andrew returned to the reception desk, his tone was curt as he announced, "Alice, I just received a message from management. It appears your meeting is postponed indefinitely." Her voice remained calm as she replied, "That is rather unexpected. I believe my presence here holds importance for both sides." For a brief moment, Andrew hesitated. His inner voice warned of the potential consequences of his decision, but he strove to maintain his composure. Raising his voice slightly, he declared, "Please remain in the waiting area. We will inform you when a meeting can be arranged." At that moment, a clear voice from behind, one of his subordinates, Ivan, cut through the tension. "Andrew, shouldn't you check with your supervisor about who Alice Johnson is? The name is unfamiliar, but in our industry, a name can carry significant weight." Feeling the mounting pressure, Andrew retorted sharply, "Ivan, mind your own business. All decisions are made according to established protocol." Ivan's words only deepened Andrew's growing uncertainty. He watched as his colleagues exchanged uneasy glances while Alice's calm yet determined expression suggested she had anticipated this very reaction. Meanwhile, in the office corridors, whispers flew as employees speculated that perhaps this visitor was not merely an ordinary client, but someone whose presence might alter the course of events. Just minutes after the refusal, when a subdued anxiety had taken over the office, a knock resounded on the director's door. The strict and exacting Mr. Sergey entered without preamble, his face a mixture of surprise and disapproval. He murmured, "Andrew, who is this Alice Johnson? We need to discuss this immediately." Feeling the blood rush to his cheeks, Andrew attempted to remain composed, his voice trembling as he stuttered, She's just a visitor with an appointment." But Sergey's concern was evident as he fixed Andrew with resolute eyes. "Listen, you have just declined a meeting with a very important guest. We cannot afford to miss an opportunity that might be pivotal for our company." At that moment, from the waiting area, Alice softly remarked, almost inaudibly, "It seems the time has come for a serious conversation." Those words struck like a final note in a series of missteps. Andrew felt his certainty crumble into fear and the dawning realization of his error. Rising, Sergey added decisively, "Immediately contact her and offer our apologies. We cannot allow any further delays." The sudden ring of a telephone in the silent room symbolized that in a world where every second counts, there was no turning back from what had been set in motion. In that moment, Andrew understood that his hasty refusal had triggered a chain of events with unpredictable consequences for both his career and the company's future. Chapter 3. Unveiling the Truth. At the moment when tension in the office reached its peak, a low murmur of discussions and hushed whispers filled the space. After the forced pause in the scheduled meeting and Sergey's stern remarks, the employees gathered in a modest conference room, trying to make sense of the unfolding events. On the wall, charts and graphs hung, but every eye was fixed not on business plans but on the mysterious woman whose identity remained cloaked in secrecy. At the head of the table, Director Sergey stared at his computer screen where messages in the corporate chat were already appearing under the name Alice Johnson. Then, unexpectedly, one colleague, Marina, noticed something peculiar. The profile picture of the visitor revealed hints that made her do a double take. "Wait, isn't that Oprah?" she whispered, hardly believing her eyes. At that very moment, the phone at Sergey's desk rang in the hallway. He answered with evident concern, his tone underscoring the urgency of the call. After several minutes of tense conversation, he hung up and, with a trembling air, announced, "Colleagues, please pay attention. I have just received confirmation that Alice Johnson is none other than Oprah Winfrey." The room fell into stunned silence. Marina, unable to conceal her astonishment, exclaimed, "Oprah Winfrey? How can that be? She is known around the world." Striving to restore order, Sergey continued, "Yes, this has been confirmed by official sources. The call came from her personal number, and the documents we received also indicate that she personally scheduled this visit to discuss a potential partnership." Andrew, still reeling from the sting of his earlier mistake, stood apart, listening as his colleagues processed the revelation. His face paled as the gravity of declining such an illustrious figure sank in. His inner voice screamed that he must fix the situation immediately, but his words caught in his throat. He attempted to speak. I had no idea I was dealing with someone so extraordinary." By this time, Oprah, though still under the guise of Alice, had moved into the central corridor of the office, where several employees had already gathered in a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Sergey met her gaze, his expression a blend of apology and determination. In a calm yet commanding tone, Oprah spoke. "Good afternoon. I understand there has been a misunderstanding. I would like to know what led to this delay and how we might proceed with our discussion." Her words carried the weight of someone who had anticipated this outcome, and everyone in the room sensed that she was not to be taken lightly. One employee, Pavel, couldn't hide his anxiety and asked in a hushed tone, "Excuse me, but weren't we supposed to be informed of your visit in advance?" With a slight smile, Oprah replied, "My schedule is always full of surprises, Pavel. I like to leave a little room for spontaneity. However, today I am here not merely to chat but to discuss strategic partnership opportunities that could be mutually beneficial." Striving to regain control, Sergey stood and addressed the assembled group. "Let us convene in the conference room immediately. I propose we hold an impromptu meeting to sort out the details. We must learn from this incident and restore trust without delay." Gathering his courage, Andrew approached Oprah and, with genuine remorse, said, "Oprah, I sincerely apologize for my misstep. My initial decision was made in haste, and I deeply regret having jeopardized your visit." Looking directly into his eyes, Oprah's gaze softened with a hint of understanding as she replied, "Andrew, we all make mistakes. What matters is that we learn from them. I appreciate your sincerity, and I am willing to move forward if we can discuss how to proceed." This brief yet profound exchange not only unmasked the true identity of the visitor, but also set in motion the process of reconciliation. Colleagues exchanged glances, many quietly exhaling as they realized that the office was on the brink of transformation, a transformation that would change not only operational procedures, but also the way people interacted. Later that evening, once the initial shock had subsided, Sergey pulled Andrew aside and said, "Today you made an error that could have cost us dearly. But if you can learn from this, perhaps we can turn it into a stepping stone for success." Andrew nodded, understanding that a long road lay ahead to restore trust, and that every mistake was an opportunity to become better. Thus, in that conference room, where official documents confirming Oprah's identity lay on the table, and every minute was charged with determination to set things right, a turning point was reached. Unveiling the truth became not only a personal trial for Andrew, but also a clarion call for the entire team. Sometimes true greatness hides behind modest appearances, and unexpected encounters can change everything. Chapter 4. Restoring Trust. In the aftermath of revealing Oprah's true identity, the office was plunged into a crisis that demanded immediate action. Over the next several hours, the entire team united to salvage the company's reputation and regain the trust of both external partners and the employees, who were still reeling from the incident. In the conference room, all eyes were fixed on the long table as Director Sergey initiated an emergency meeting. "Colleagues, today's situation is a serious lesson for us all. We have made an error that could cost us not only a potential contract, but also damage our reputation. We must act swiftly to rectify this situation." Andrew, still burdened by the weight of his mistake, lowered his head. His inner voice relentlessly reminded him of his rash decision. Yet he knew that now was not the time to shy away from responsibility. Steeling himself, he spoke with evident emotion. I deeply regret what happened. I understand that my decision to decline the meeting was a grave error. I am ready to do whatever it takes to set things right and restore trust both within our team and with our partners. Colleagues exchanged glances. Young specialist Ivan couldn't hide his frustration. Andrew, your mistake has been a wake-up call. We all need to reassess our communication standards with clients. We cannot afford to lose opportunities like this. Marina, ever the optimist even in adversity, added, let's take this incident as a chance to improve our operations. We can arrange additional training in communication and update our protocols so that nothing like this is ever overlooked again. Sergey nodded and continued. We will reach out to our guest and propose a new format for our meeting to discuss future cooperation and outline our next steps. Andrew, you will be responsible for drafting an apology letter and organizing the new meeting. This is your opportunity not only to correct your mistake, but also to demonstrate your capacity to learn from it. At that moment, Oprah entered the room with a quiet yet confident air. Her presence, now free of tension, was met with respectful nods. Approaching the table, she offered a gentle smile and said, I have heard that you plan to take measures to improve your service. That is reassuring. I am willing to give you a second chance if your commitment to change is sincere. Her words were like a benediction for the whole team. An open discussion ensued. Sergey posed a critical question. In your view, what changes are most important for us to implement in this situation? Oprah replied thoughtfully. First and foremost, you must learn to listen. I see that your office often relies on scripted interactions without considering the unique needs of each client. Understand that behind every visitor is a personal story and individual expectations. If you truly listen, trust will naturally follow. Nodding in agreement, Andrew added, I agree. My mistake was not paying enough attention not only to your words, but also to the nonverbal cues you were giving. I promise to be more attentive and open to dialogue in the future. With a warm smile, Oprah said, mistakes happen. What's important is to learn from them and move forward. Thus began a lively discussion in which every team member contributed ideas to improve client service. Proposals ranged from regular training sessions and updated reception standards to implementing a robust feedback mechanism. Gradually, the tense atmosphere gave way to a renewed sense of unity and shared purpose. During a break in the meeting, Sergey approached Andrew and said quietly, You see, Andrew, mistakes do not define us. It's how we respond to them that matters. Today, you have shown that you are willing to acknowledge your faults and work on them. This quality is valued not only in business but in life. Andrew nodded, realizing that this experience would be a turning point in both his personal and professional growth. The team resolved not merely to rectify the error, but to transform it into a learning opportunity that would fortify the corporate spirit and strengthen the company as a whole. As the meeting drew to a close, Sergey declared, Today, we witnessed firsthand the power of trust and mutual support. Let this incident serve not only as a warning, but also as a catalyst for positive change. Together, we can reach new heights if we work as one. With these words, the employees dispersed back to their desks, infused with a fresh energy and an unwavering commitment to the future. Through heartfelt apologies, constructive dialogue, and collective effort, the process of restoring trust had begun, a process that would undoubtedly steer the company toward success. Chapter 5. A New Dawn. Several weeks had passed since that fateful incident, and the office had transformed into a shining example of how a crisis can be turned into a new opportunity. The meeting with Oprah became a turning point not only for Andrew, but for the entire organization. Every employee felt that the changes, even in the smallest details, were taking hold, and the spirit of teamwork had been revitalized. During a morning assembly in the bright conference room, Director Sergey addressed the team with warm, encouraging words. Friends, thanks to your hard work and mutual support, we are already witnessing positive changes. Our new standards for client interaction are working, and the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. Today, I want to acknowledge how we turned a crisis into an opportunity for improvement. The employees received these words with smiles. Ever-energetic Ivan remarked, I never imagined that one incident could so drastically change the way we work. But now I see that mistakes are opportunities for growth and learning. Standing quietly at the side, Andrew listened to his colleagues with deep introspection. His inner monologue reminded him that true success comes from admitting mistakes and striving to correct them. He recalled the gentle words Oprah once spoke to him. The key is not to be afraid of vulnerability. It is through openness and a willingness to change that we grow stronger. Those words had become his guiding light. In the weeks that followed, Andrew attended training sessions, participated actively in discussions, and even took the initiative to schedule meetings with clients to gather feedback. His determination to improve became contagious, inspiring even the skeptics among his colleagues to embrace change. On one bright spring day, the phone in the lobby rang. Sergey answered, and after a few moments his face broke into a smile. He rose and announced, "Excellent news! Our new client service program has received high praise from a leading industry magazine. Our partners are noting that we have become much more attentive to detail and committed to long-term cooperation." At that moment, Oprah herself entered the room. Her arrival was now greeted with friendly salutations rather than tension. She approached Andrew, who stood nearby, and said warmly, "I've heard about the significant progress you've made. It's truly impressive. Your drive to improve is an inspiration." With a sincere smile, Andrew replied, "Thank you, Oprah. Your visit was a lesson that changed not only my work habits but the entire culture of our office. We've learned to value every client and truly listen to their needs." Oprah nodded, her voice gentle and reassuring. Each of us must face challenges to understand the true worth of trust and mutual support. Today, I see that you have embraced that lesson and turned it into a strength. Soon, the conversation evolved into a lively exchange, with employees sharing their successes and future plans. The corridors of the office buzzed with an air of renewal and hope. Every corner, every detail reflected the new spirit of the company, a spirit where mistakes were not viewed as defeats, but as stepping stones on the path to perfection. Days turned into weeks, and the company gradually earned a reputation as an innovative, client-focused center. Sergey pointed out that the new standards were already bearing fruit. Positive reviews were on the rise, and major contracts were arriving more regularly. Meanwhile, the bonds within the team had grown stronger, and trust among colleagues had become genuine and unforced. On the final day of that period, the team gathered for a final report and a celebration of their achievements. With pride in his voice, Sergey addressed the group. "Today, we stand as a testament to the fact that lessons learned from mistakes can pave the way to a new dawn. Each of you has contributed to this transformation, and I am confident that even greater victories lie ahead." With applause and sincere smiles all around, the office stepped into a new era. This new dawn marked not only the renewal of business practices but also a personal rebirth for every employee. In their hearts, they understood that trust and openness were the true pillars capable of overcoming any challenge. Looking ahead, they knew that together they could reach unprecedented heights, and every encounter, even the most unexpected, would become a stepping stone toward success.
If you enjoyed this story, we'd love for you to give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to continue sharing heartwarming, inspiring stories almost every day.